Thanks for has had a frantic week. Now, some of the key topics I need to cover off right now are scams on Optus customers. Please be mindful. You are going to get a ton of phishing emails. You are going to get smishing, which is SMS phishing. So you are going to get spammers sending you all kinds of, compensation type SMSs and emails or service request outage issues. If you are starting to see these, please be mindful of these. Scammers are taking advantage of the people in an emotional state right now, and it is really bad. I appreciate that there are vulnerable people out there. Just be mindful of this. Please share it with elderly, especially in your network, your family, your friends, members, anyone. Just make sure that they know Optus will not be offering compensation via SMS or via email. They will notify you what they're suggesting, such as their recent suggestion that they will give you extra 200 gigs. That's fine. But they will not offer you links to then go and register for compensation. Okay, please don't click on any of that. Think before you click, as I like to say. Now, our recent dark web scouring has also identified that there has been a number of LinkedIn account breaches, including some very close to myself, where I strongly suggest please go into your LinkedIn accounts and change your passwords. If you are using the same password on your LinkedIn account as alternatives, do the same with those alternative accounts because they can be cross-referenced. Please be mindful. If you can, use Password Manager, which is extensively long and gives you all kinds of algorithmic passwords so that you don't have the same passwords. Now, special guest today, none other the Dean Ellis, and the absolute star that he is. I will bring him to join the conversation. Dean, thanks for coming in today.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Mate, it's always a pleasure. I know that you and I are like a firecracker when we get together, so this is probably going to be no different, and this is a very important topic we are going to be diving into. Now, we just talked about a number of scams and a number of breaches. Scary statistic, right?
Absolutely. I've actually had 5 text messages in the last 24 hours from +64 numbers with a group message with the number 7 next to it. So be careful, guys. I'm an Optus customer. I'm not sure really what's going on here, but I'm sure Kristof can help us understand what we need to do to protect ourselves.
Mate, absolutely. And look, to be completely honest with you, Dean, one of the key factors that I'm concerned with is obviously being alert to these, right? And so we're just trying to share that message. But let's get to some serious facts here, right? Now, we are told that we need around 200,000 cybersecurity experts by 2026, and we're nowhere near that right now, are we?
Absolutely not. I think we're around about 140,000 in Australia at the moment. So we've got a big leap to get up to that 210.
Now, man, we're talking around, if you're talking that's almost a 30% increase on where we are, right? Where the heck are we going to find 30% more cybersecurity specialists? And to be fair with you, this is a nominal figure that we've been told, right? And I would expect that that's probably going to grow and rapidly increase, especially with what's going on these days. What is it that we're looking at? I mean, let's be fair. Okay, so the skill shortage is there. So how are we going to see that, and what is the increase in roles look like?
All right. Well, something that so obviously I'm a technical recruiter. Well, not obviously for everyone out there, I am a technical recruiter. I've been in the industry for nearly 4 years now. And something that I have noticed is that with the skills shortage, there's a lot of businesses and business owners out there that are really fearful of bringing someone in on a contract who has a visa. I just want to say, please don't be scared of the visa. Do your research. It's really easy. Get in contact with an employment agency. You can speak with someone like myself, and I can give you some tips and pointers on how you can protect yourself and how to set up the structure so you can bring skilled workers into the country so you can protect yourself. With 50 or 70,000 cybersecurity specialists needed in Australia, we're really going to have to think outside the box. Another tip that I regularly give the clients that work with me is let's start looking at undergrads and grad programs. So why don't we bring those that have just gone through their 4 years doing a BA in cybersecurity and bring them into the organization to work with those that are really skilled within the space. They are going to be hungry for knowledge. I know a lot of them that are out there seeking opportunities at the moment. I have also seen across the country, there are a lot of RTOs that are spinning up cybersecurity courses. If you'd like to have a discussion with myself about those that are providing really solid courses, I'm more than happy to do that.
RTO for everyone is a registered training organisation, just so rather than because recovery time objective also is an RTO, Dean. So I just want to make sure people were clear with that one. Now, I spoke to a good friend of mine, Laura, Laura Robinson, about the same problem that we're talking about today, in the fact that there is very limited resources in the market right now that aren't visa related, right? I mean, and it's a scary statistic because whilst there are increased amounts of, education facilities to be able to get into that, and I know that a number of my colleagues that I've worked with previously, systems engineers, networking engineers, they've all gone, all right, look, you've obviously been asked a lot around this cybersecurity, right? And so the skill shortage is existing. What is it? What are the key skills that we are missing? It's not just cybersecurity, right?
No, you're 100% correct. We are missing a lot of skills across the industry, and data is a really strong point that I'm seeing. Data analysts and data scientists have been learning their craft over the last 7 to 10 years. And previously, they weren't even called data analysts or data scientists. They were just analysts. And now these people have really honed their skills and they're in the market. I have noticed there's a lot of junior data analysts in the market right now, those that have, say, 1 year experience within the industry. But there are a skills gap with those that have the 5 years experience. So it's really important to start building. If you know you have a need for a data analyst or a data scientist, start building that relationship now. And it's really easy to do that. LinkedIn, as we're on it right now, is a perfect platform to start building relationships, connect and just say, look, let's have a conversation. Let's have a coffee. Let's have a chat, because over the next kind of 10 to 12 months, I'm going to need access to data analysts or data scientists. And you can start reaching into their contact spheres as well to then get access to a great candidate who is being referred. No one's going to refer a terrible candidate to you. So start building those relationships now. On top of that, software. So software developers, as we saw through the COVID period, the spike in salaries went up. I think it was something around about 25%. So we had junior software developers that were requesting $100,000 or $110,000, and the likes of the Big Four were offering those figures. However, what we have noticed in the last 6 months is 12 months down the track, those software developers cannot produce the same level of work that someone who previously was getting paid $100,000 or $120,000. So those people are back in the market. So I am seeing there are some great skilled candidates in the junior and mid-level ranges that are available. Give them a shot, but be realistic with what you want them to achieve. So don't say, look, I'm going to pay you $100,000 and I want you to achieve ABC, which is over and above what they're available and capable of doing. Put them with a mentor and actually work with them to work with the skills that they've got and hone that skill set so they can do better over the next couple of years. So take a risk on a junior or a mid-level, I say.
Yeah, mate, absolutely. Great words. And it's an interesting concept because obviously when we talk about technology and life cycles, okay, we're talking back in the days, 1990 to 2000, infrastructure was king, right? An infrastructure engineer was king because obviously everything was based on infrastructure. Then we saw the software evolution take off. We've obviously seen that over the last 10 to 15 years probably. And there's this whole raft of people saying data is the new oil. And I hate to say it's not. It has been a commodity that's richer than oil for the last decade or so. But to your point, data is now key to everything we do in an organization, right? And so data analysts, I can see that spike. I mean, we've seen an increase in the requests that are coming around. How do I use and abstract and decouple my data so I can, as an organization, get full visibility, right? And so I can see how those roles are certainly growing. Mate, let's talk about something that's near and dear to us. Retention, right?
Golden word.
Yeah,
Golden
I know.
Look, it sounds a bit like a buzzword, doesn't it, when we say retention? But retention is actually the key facet to any business to save some coin, because the cost of onboarding a staff member is a hell of a lot higher than it is to retain a staff member. And my key tips for retention is keep the conversation live with your current staff. Ask them, what is it that you want? What is it that you need? What can I provide you? That whole servant leadership scenario, like be that servant leader. Ask the questions and understand what it is each staff member wants. You can't tar it with the same brush because every person within your team is going to need something different. For example, in my previous business, some of our staff wanted to work 4 days a week. Some wanted to work 3 days a week. Some wanted to work 5 days a week, but wanted a higher salary. Others wanted access to more leave. Then on top of that, some wanted access to sell their leave because they didn't really travel that much.
Right.
So all of these things created an EVP, for example, which is an employee value proposition. And if you don't currently have an employee value proposition, I think that's a really good place to start, because no longer is having, I don't know, in a tech space, beer on tap or a coffee machine or a fruit bowl on the table something that we see as a part of the EVP. That's just expected now. I remember going into a business a few years back and they said, we've got PlayStations. And I was like, you know what? No one wants a PlayStation anymore. They don't want to play Daytona on their lunch break. They actually want to connect. So I really think if you haven't got an EVP, that's where you should start, and ask your staff, what do they want? Because at that point, they'll feel valued and you can retain those staff members.
Yeah. So you don't think putting in those extremely long slides and having cookies for breakfast are going to make a difference anymore now, bro?
Mate, I'll take a fireman poll any day, but no, I don't think that's really going to make a massive difference. I think understanding the value of each staff member and making sure they feel valued is a key point to retention.
Yeah, look, I mean, we've seen the buzzwords where Google, obviously, in the initial started doing all this, and then obviously there was a huge buzz in the tech industry. And you're right. Understanding the value of all your values that your staff have and then being able to apply that in a way that actually is meaningful to them is going to make the biggest difference, right?
Leverage their skills as well. There's some really great tools out there to do skills testing where you can actually understand what skills and strengths lie in each of your team members. And if you can leverage the skill that they actually feel empowered by, you're going to keep them in your organization for a lot longer. I don't like to write adverts, I'll tell you that right now. Yeah. And like if I'm asked to sit there and write 10 adverts in a row, like I'm going to feel drained. However, if one of my offsiders really is creative and likes the creative words, it's better off for them to write the advert and then me to do the final check on those things. I'm best to be on the phone and actually talking with you to find out how we can best support you.
Mate, and I love it. You know why? Because we're both energetic and we're the sort of people that love to connect, talk, and then be obviously problem solvers. My key value, problem solving. And it's an interesting point, right? I mean, we've seen the great resignation, and I'll use that in inverted commas, happening. Obviously from our perspective, when there's that skills gap, something like a managed service can help fill those gaps. And I understand that that's something that's certainly becoming more and more prevalent. And we're talking about this because of the fact that we are actually seeing skill shortages, right? And they're not just small, minute, they're becoming bigger and bigger. And especially in that mid-enterprise, we're talking 200 plus seats, they're finding gaps where outsourcing might be handy. Now, let's not...
That's a really good point, actually. Sorry, Kristof, to jump in there. That outsourcing component is the fix that can be instant. And it's a really quick conversation. Pick up the phone, give Kristof a call, have a chat. How can you help me with this gap that I've got? You can have a solution spun up in a couple of days and fill that gap while you work out what your future proofing looks like. And he'll even support you with the future proofing, I can guarantee it.
Absolutely. And thank you. That's really appreciate that. And it's an interesting point because when we start talking about, you just mentioned at the beginning, right, where homegrown talent is struggling, outsourcing is vital. And in the same way, when we outsource, we talk about outsourcing, for example, getting staff in. I mean, COVID really slowed that down for us, right? I mean, we could not get people in on visas. There was fear-mongering overseas around talent coming into Australia because of the fact that we had COVID breakouts, etc. So we're on the recovery, and yes, I'm starting to see that, and it's a lot better. Talk about, when we were talking about that great resignation, are we still seeing that happening?
All right, well, not everyone, but a lot of people that I've been speaking to over the last 18 months the constant conversation has been around security, and not cyber security, but security of their role, security of their job and their position within a company. And everyone was quite worried about the looming financial crisis, for example. In the last 3 months, what I see now is there's more roles available. There's more people that are happy to move, and people are starting to release the feeling of needing the security. Yes, there are, some that are risk averse that want to work with a big organization who can retain them if there was to be a financial crisis. However, right now, what I'm seeing in the market is that the staff are out there. They're ready to jump. They might not be on a job board. I can tell you that, as in a lot of the people that I work with aren't sitting on a job board waiting for that job to be posted, but they're known to different recruiters, and they're having conversations saying, hey, let me know if this job comes up with A, B, and C. I'm passively in the market. Let me know what comes up. So just know that there is opportunity to get good staff at the moment because people are prepared to move.
I love the fact that you just quantified that. You know, people are becoming far more particular now, and we talk about how do I say this? The news has prompted a lot of management to say you have to come into the office, right? And let's be fair, in the technology industry, yeah, I know that's the thing for us. And being in the technology industry, I mean, I was an engineer, right? For 20 years, I was an engineer. I was working from wherever I needed to be. It could be a client's office, could have been a cafe, could have been in the office, or I could have been at home, right? That has really been ingrained in our technology essence. So, you know, when we start seeing people going, I want A, B, and C now, that is becoming far more, let's call it fixed, as opposed to, I could probably do without C, right?
Well, look, I can tell you right now that financials, so the remuneration is now your C-level requirement for a candidate. They're looking for different opportunities. So growth is a big one. So let's talk about managed services, for example. That's a space that I specialize in. I love it. I've been in it for 6-7 years now. And everyone in managed services wants to know what their career path is. If you haven't got a set career path for a staff member, you're going to lose that staff member, because the next managed service who is looking for staff is going to tap them on the shoulder and say, hey, I've got a level 3 role for you. Would you like to come over, and we'll even mentor you if you haven't quite got the skills 100%, because anyone with managed services experience is like gold. Now, it's really hard for our industry to retain people within the managed services space because we are really fast paced and there is a lot of stress, but you can minimize that stress and offer benefits to those staff members outside of the PlayStation. All right. So good culture, ensuring that there's a team environment and opportunities to grow. Remuneration is the third level. But again, you need to meet the market value. If you're not meeting the market value as a minimum, you're not going to get access to the top tier talent.
Right. And to be honest with you, it's exactly what we do here, right? The culture is king. And I know there's plenty of opportunities for memes that we're going to come out about that, but it's so true. People like working with good people, right? And at the end of the day, that's just the way it is. Now, thank you so much to everyone for sending through these questions. It was great. I know that the team at ACS, the Australian Computer Society, has certainly been helping foster some of those, young guns come through. In case you're interested, next Thursday, I will be doing a cybersecurity masterclass with the Australian Computer Society. So feel free to come and join us. That's in Sydney, Barangaroo. Dean, as always, mate, insights are absolutely abundant when we talk. So thank you so much for joining us and sharing those.
Thanks for having me.
Pleasure, sir. Now, be safe, everyone. Remember what I like to say, think before you click, and have a fantastic weekend.